So with the United States recently introducing the Keep Call Centers in America Act 2025, questions are being raised about the potential impact on our workforce and economy, with Jamaica's BPO sector employing tens of thousands of Jamaicans and generating significant foreign exchange. To help us unpack all of this, we're joined by Mr. Wayne Sinclair, who is the president of the Global Services Association of Jamaica. Morning, Sir Wayne. How are you, sir?
Morning, Neville. Good to see you. It's been a while. Morning, Debbie.
Good morning.
Great to see you. Tell me the role of the Global Services Association of Jamaica, maybe specifically towards the BPO, what we're talking about. Is there a connection there?
Yeah, man, sure. So the Global Services Association used to be the BPIG, the Business Process Industry Association of Jamaica. We were started back in 2012, so this is 13 years we're celebrating now. And we essentially serve the grouping of companies that are in the BPO sector or the global digital services sector, as well as all the other companies that serve those companies. So it's a whole ecosystem of companies that are part of the GSAJ.
Yeah.
And we perform basically 5 key functions: advocacy for the industry, working very closely with the government to ensure that we remain competitive globally. Promotion. We did so, for example, with our O2J conference that we had earlier this year. And we've been to a couple of conferences overseas to help to promote and let the world know what we have to offer as a sector. Member services as well. So linkage events where we bring BPO companies together with other service providers in the industry to sort of network and mingle and get to know each other and do business. Innovation. We have 2 incubators, business incubators, that allows us to bring companies into Jamaica to sort of do a test run of our services here without having to put the upfront capital expense of starting up. And the 5th pillar would be research and development. So the latest technologies, the latest happenings in the industry, like what we're talking about here this morning, are the kinds of things that we share with our membership so that, again, we can stay abreast of what's happening globally. And again, the idea is always to remain competitive and execute our value proposition as a sector.
Before you tell us how Jamaica and Jamaicans might be hurt by all of this, and I think I know the answer to this question, but what does Keep Call Centers in America 2025, what does that act seek to do?
All right. So just a little background as to how this works, right? So there are 2 bills, right? One that we have up on the screen there was the Senate Bill S-2495 that's been introduced into the Senate, and there's a companion bill, HR 4954, that's been introduced into the Congress. It's been introduced. How this works is the act and its provisions are sent to various committees that are impacted by the act. The different committees debate it, give their opinions, their views, send it back to the House and the Senate for a vote. If the bill passes, and they have to pass in both houses, then it ultimately goes to the president's desk to be signed. That process can take anywhere from 3 months to years, and sometimes doesn't even get passed at all. Just for context, in the current sitting of Congress, only 1% of the bills that have been introduced have actually gone into law. So there's a lot to happen before this bill actually can become law.
Okay.
But we
sorry.
No, please go ahead.
All right, so both bills are very similar in nature, and they have 3 what we call directions. The first one is that if you are a company that are seeking to offshore your call center operations, you have to give the Department of Labor 120 days of notice. So you have to do it at least 120 days before, and the Department of Labor will then put your name on list. That list leads into the second direction, which is that companies would not be able to access federal grants. Federal grants are basically free money that the government gives to usually organizations that are disadvantaged or things for research and development and that kind of thing. And those companies would not be able to access federally backed loans. Federally backed loans, again, are the kinds of things that the government of the United States guarantees lenders or absolve them against the risk of default from borrowers. So it's basically a pass-through loan to financial institutions. guaranteed by the federal government. The most famous one of which is the FHA loan, the Federal Housing Administration, where people can get low-cost loans from banks, and these loans are guaranteed by the federal government.
Okay.
So they would be eligible for federal backed loans. And the third plank is that if a consumer asks where you're calling from, you have to identify and say, in our case, I'm calling from Jamaica. And if that consumer wishes to be transferred to an American representative, they would have to be transferred to an American.
Okay.
Yeah, but Wayne, let us try to understand this now. What percentage of the BPO sector is affiliated with the American businesses?
So I don't have an exact percentage, but suffice to say that the vast majority of companies here that do business with offshore are with American companies. American companies definitely make up the bulk of our clientele. And also a lot of American companies have established branches here, right? So we're talking about not just independent BPO companies that then seek and get contracts from American companies, but American companies that are actually here doing business. So for example, Teleperformance, Conduent, and so on. And we also have companies from other countries as well that are here doing business. So I don't have an exact percentage, but clearly the vast majority of our clientele are spaced.
All right, so let's talk about now. If this bill goes into effect, though, you're saying that there's some time before it does, but if it does, what are we looking at realistically here?
That's a great question. So first of all, just to back up a little bit, there is no direction in the bill that I am aware of that speaks to existing operations, right? So this is really speaking to operations that plan to offshore in the future, right? So that's the first thing. The next thing is, at the end of the day, each company is going to have to do their cost-benefit analysis. In my personal estimation, the value proposition of offshoring far outweighs the potential costs of compliance with this bill, right? A lot of investment has been made by companies to do offshoring. There are a lot of advantages, not least of which is efficiency. Of course, there are cost advantages as well. So in my estimation, the advantages of offshoring still far outweighs whatever costs there may be that are associated with compliance. Because the truth of the matter is, the money part of this bill is the federal grants piece. And I am not aware of many companies, private companies in the United States, period, much less our industry, that counts on federal grants for a significant part of their capitalization.
Yep.
Right? So, I don't, there is one other piece, quite frankly, and that's companies will be sort of put to the back of the line, if you will, when it comes to federal contracts. So, for example, if some agency of the federal government needs call center services and you're on this list, you won't be ineligible, but you'll be sort of pushed to the back of the line. So we say what the impact is, because it's really a cost-benefit analysis that will have to be done.
We don't have a whole lot of time left. Sorry to jump in, but let me be hypothetical. Say it will hurt. Say it's going to hurt us when it comes. As you said, it could be years. Give me a solution for that, for our local BPO entities. Say it's going to hurt us. How can they, whether pivot or whatever word you want to use, how can they come out of this?
Sure. So, and this is something that the JCAG has been pivoting to now for a couple of years, and it was a sort of cornerstone of our Outsource to Jamaica conference this year. We are diversifying to other markets, right? So we are actively seeking partnerships, UK, Canada, Mexico, even companies in Mexico that are looking to have English-speaking representatives. That's the first piece, so diversification of our geographic partnerships. And the next one is to continue to move up the value chain, so to continue to offer higher value-added services. The thing with higher value-added services is that it really now comes down to the quality of the work that you do, and the value that you continue to add to these companies. So those, I would say, are two of the key areas in which we are pivoting. And that's something that we're well on the way. We, the GSAJ, are well down the wicket of establishing our first finishing school, which is going to be available to our membership. I'm teasing that one because We're going to have a much bigger announcement later on, but we're doing things in the GSAJ to ensure that our members stay up to date, our members stay competitive, and that our sector continues to move up the value chain to be able to offer higher value-added services to our potential clients, as well as geographic diversification.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President. We look forward to hearing more about that. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Wayne Sinclair,
Thanks,
President of Global Services Association of Jamaica, giving us some insight there on our BPO sector and this new bill being passed in America. Coming up, guys, we hear about a teenager's mission to help less fortunate students secure an education. Stay with us.